Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. Chapter 4. The Guildhall. There were long steps from Westminster Palace to the River Thames. Soldiers stood on both sides of the steps. The people of London were near the river looking at the royal barge. When Tom came out, the crowd shouted,
"Long live Prince Edward!"
Tom wore beautiful white clothes and jewels for the important banquet. He looked at the river and thought about his friends and his games. He walked down the stairs to the royal barge, and the lords and ladies bowed. Tom stood at the front of the barge as it moved slowly down the river to the Guildhall. He was excited because everything was new to him. The Guildhall was a big building near the river, where all the rich and important men of London were waiting for the prince. At the same time, John Canty took Edward and pulled him down Pudding Lane. People laughed and followed them.
"Teach that boy a lesson!"
shouted a young woman. When they came near John Canty's house, Father Andrew stood in front of them.
"Don't hurt him! Let him go!"
said Father Andrew. John Canty was angry and did not answer him. He hit Father Andrew on the head with a stick, and he fell to the ground. John Canty pulled Edward home. He opened the door of his small room and said to his wife,
"Here is your dear son. He doesn't have a penny for us, and he's mad too."
Tom's mother ran to Edward and said, "Oh, my poor boy!"
"No money, no food,"
said John Canty to Edward, and he pushed him to the floor. Tom's father was a cruel man. There was a voice outside the door.
"John Canty! Quick, open the door!"
"What's the matter?"
said Canty.
"You hit Father Andrew on the head, and now he's dead!"
said a young man.
"Dead?"
asked John Canty.
"This is bad. A lot of people saw me when I hit the old man."
He turned to his wife and said,
"Quick! Take the girls and meet me at London Bridge. I'll take another road with the boy."
Canty took Edward by the arm and pulled him through the small, dark streets until they came to the river. There he saw a crowd of people. Some of them were sitting at tables and drinking.
"What's all this?"
Canty asked a man.
"What are you waiting for?"
"Don't you know?
Said the man.
We're waiting to see Prince Edward in the royal barge. He's going to a banquet at the Guildhall. Here, have a drink."
He gave John Canty a big cup. Canty removed his hand from Edward's arm to pick up the cup. Edward quickly ran away between the men's legs. Canty looked down.
"Where's the boy? Stop him! Catch him!"
Edward ran away and thought,
"I must go to the Guildhall and find Tom. Then we can change clothes again."
When Tom came into the Guildhall, everyone stood up and bowed. He sat at the high table with the prince's sisters and Lady Jane. Hundreds of servants brought in all kinds of food. There was a lot of meat, fish, and cheese, and many different cakes. Soon the banquet began. Everyone talked and laughed, and there were singers and dancers. Tom was surprised by everything he saw and started to enjoy the royal banquet. Edward finally reached the Guildhall, and he was tired and dirty. He went to one of the soldiers and cried,
I'm Prince Edward. Open the doors. I want to come in.
The soldier laughed at him.
I order you to open the doors,
He cried,
Don't be a fool.
said the soldier.
Stand back.
The people in the crowd were angry.
Send this boy away.
They shouted.
He's mad.
We want to see the prince when the banquet finishes.
Go away, boy!
I won't go away. I am Prince Edward. The boy in there is a pauper. I am the son of King Henry.
The crowd began to look dangerous, but Edward did not move. Then a tall man with black hair came out of the angry crowd and stood next to Edward.
Perhaps you're a prince, and perhaps you're not.
Said the man.
But you're a courageous boy, and I like you, so I'll help you.
Who are you, sir?
Asked Edward.
My name is Miles Hendon, and I'm a soldier of the King of England. I returned from France yesterday, and I'm going to my home in the country.
The dangerous crowd came nearer.
Stand back!
Cried Miles to the crowd. He took out his sword and held it up.
Kill them!
Cried someone from the back of the crowd. People started to throw things at them. Miles stood in front of Edward and defended him. The crowd was big and angry, and Miles was alone. Suddenly, everyone stopped shouting and fighting. They heard the sound of horses, and a soldier cried,
Oh, stand back! The king's first lord is coming!
The soldiers pushed the crowd back. Lord Hertford ran up the stairs and went into the Guildhall. He went to Tom and said,
Your Majesty, I'm sorry. Your father is dead.
Then he looked at the people and shouted,
King Henry is dead. Long live King Edward!
Everyone at the banquet shouted,
Long live King Edward!
Miles Hendon quickly took Edward's arm and they ran away.